The U.S. auto industry, once the crown jewel of American innovation, now stands at a dangerous crossroads. Valued at a staggering $1.53 trillion, it's not just about cars, it's about jobs, exports, national pride, and global influence. But now, three European powerhouses, Germany, France, and Denmark, have launched a coordinated move that could cripple the entire American auto empire. So, what exactly did they do? And why is everyone from Wall Street to Washington in full panic mode? Let's dive into the bold European move that might just shut down America's most iconic industry. The bold policy shift that blindsided America. It all began with a joint announcement. Germany, France, and Denmark declared an aggressive acceleration of their zero-emission vehicle mandates with a full ban on new gasoline and diesel car sales by 2030, years ahead of the U.S. plan. But they didn't stop there. These nations are now implementing carbon import taxes, targeting vehicles manufactured in countries without strict climate laws. Translation? U.S.-made gasoline and hybrid vehicles will be taxed heavily, making them uncompetitive across Europe. And with Europe accounting for a huge chunk of U.S. auto exports, the blow is massive. Carbon tariffs, the economic weapon no one saw coming. Imagine trying to sell a Ford Explorer in France, only to find it costs 30% more than a local EV due to carbon import taxes. That's the reality facing U.S. automakers. Germany and France are already piloting carbon border adjustment mechanisms that penalize imports from countries with weaker climate standards. This isn't just about environmental policy, it's economic warfare in disguise. It pushes automakers like Ford, GM, and Stellantis into a corner. Either build electric or get locked out of some of the world's richest car markets. Will the U.S. retaliate or fold? The European EV wave, why U.S. cars can't keep up. Germany's VW Group, France's Renault, and Denmark's push for clean mobility have created a wave of affordable, efficient, and well-engineered EVs, and they're flooding the market. Meanwhile, American automakers are still struggling with cost, range, and battery sourcing. The average price of a U.S. EV remains above $53,000, while French and German automakers now offer models under $30,000 with better subsidies and infrastructure. As a result, European consumers are rapidly turning away from U.S. brands, especially with carbon tariffs stacked on top. GM and Ford caught completely off guard. General Motors and Ford had ambitious EV roadmaps, but not fast enough. While they bet heavily on hybrid transitions and SUV-focused EVs, Europe moved on with compact city cars and heavy investment in charging grids. Now both giants are racing to retool factories and source cleaner batteries. But retooling takes time, and time is exactly what they no longer have. Some analysts estimate the carbon penalties and loss of market share could cost Ford and GM over $20 billion in annual revenue by 2030. Can these legacy titans turn the ship around fast enough? U.S. auto jobs at risk. The human cost of a trade war. Beyond factories and profits, there's a human toll. Over 900,000 jobs in the U.S. auto sector are tied to exports. If European markets slam shut, thousands of workers in Michigan, Ohio, and Illinois could lose their livelihoods. Labor unions are already sounding alarms, and some politicians are pushing for emergency tariffs. But protectionism may not work this time. If American companies don't go green fast enough, they won't just lose markets, they'll lose their workers too. Tesla's unique position in the chaos. Strangely, the one U.S. automaker that might survive the storm is Tesla. With a gigafactory in Germany, Tesla avoids many of the European carbon penalties, and its vehicles qualify for EU subsidies. Elon Musk may have accidentally insulated his company from the blow hitting Detroit. But even Tesla faces new competition from European EV makers offering cheaper models with better range. Unless Tesla can keep innovating and lower prices, it risks being squeezed out, just like its American peers. Is the Model 3 enough to fight off a continent of rivals? Is this the end of U.S. auto dominance, or the beginning of something new? The era of gas-guzzling muscle cars and American-made SUVs dominating world markets might be ending. But that doesn't mean the U.S. auto industry is finished. If it can adapt, go green faster, price smarter, and innovate bolder, it could lead a new global EV movement. But the clock is ticking. Europe's move is a wake-up call, and if U.S. automakers don't answer soon, that $1.53 trillion industry could collapse under its own weight. Europe's charging infrastructure is miles ahead. One of the reasons Europe can confidently push forward with bans on gas-powered vehicles is its superior EV charging infrastructure. Germany alone has over 100,000 public chargers, and France is catching up fast with massive investments through its France Relance Green Recovery Plan. Compare that to large swaths of the U.S., where charging deserts still exist outside major cities. This infrastructure advantage means that European consumers don't have to worry about range anxiety or charging availability, making EVs more practical than ever. For American automakers hoping to export their EVs, this creates a new challenge. They must meet European expectations for charging compatibility, efficiency, and speed, or be left behind. BYD's entry into Europe adds more pressure. While U.S. automakers are struggling to compete with Europe's new policies, Chinese EV giant BYD is quickly expanding into the European market, offering low-cost, high-efficiency electric cars that meet the EU's environmental standards. BYD recently opened showrooms in Germany, the UK, and France, and the reviews have been glowing. What makes BYD's entry even more disruptive is their price-to-value ratio. A BYD model may undercut a Tesla or GM EV by $10,000 or more without sacrificing features. As BYD gobbles up market share, it becomes even harder for U.S. brands to justify their higher prices or hybrid strategies. Is it possible that American automakers might get outcompeted not just by Europe, but also by China? The battery race, Europe's edge in sustainability. Battery manufacturing is the heart of the EV revolution, and Europe is gaining a sustainability edge here too. Companies like Northvolt in Sweden are pioneering eco-friendly battery production using clean energy and recyclable materials. This aligns perfectly with new EU regulations favoring low-carbon supply chains. American lobbyists push back, but are they too late? In Washington, U.S. automakers and their lobbyists are urging lawmakers to fight Europe's carbon policies with tariff retaliation or trade deals. The American Automotive Policy Council has warned that current EU strategies unfairly target U.S. vehicles and threaten free trade agreements. What consumers need to know: the next 5 years will reshape everything. For everyday consumers in the U.S. and abroad, this isn't just geopolitical drama. It will directly affect the cars they can buy, how much they cost, and whether they'll be allowed to drive them freely in international cities. In places like Paris and Berlin, gas and diesel cars will soon be restricted from entering city centers altogether. Germany, France, and Denmark just sent a message to the world. Green is not a suggestion, it's a demand. And if the U.S. wants to keep its auto empire alive, it must evolve or be erased. So what do you think? Should the U.S. fight back with tariffs or start playing Europe's game on their turf? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more deep dives into the future of cars, power, and policy. The global EV war has begun, and it's not just about cars, it's about who controls the road ahead.